Hello and welcome back in this very awesome and very cool requested video. So it's been a while since we made legendary classic Ford engine, and I received this requested video 2 days ago actually by Mr. Actually his username is a little bit long, Mr. Minnesota Wild Outdoors. So he said, and I quote here, "Can you build a 302 Windsor V8 from the Mustang GT from the early 80s?" Alright, so let's go back to the 1980s. As you can see, I've searched Wikipedia, and these engines are not really powerful in the 80s. I mean, yes, it started in life with 210 horsepower, but when the emissions comes and the emissions regulations and the leaded fuel started to get banned, and unleaded fuel is going in the market, and adding of course catalytic converters, which means the early, because as we all know, all the early catalytic converters were two-way, and two-way catalytic converters are the worst possible thing to put on an exhaust system, because it will restrict the exhaust system absolutely and choke it to death. So I mean, yes, I like the Windsor engine, which is a 5-liter engine. I really love it, but in the 80s, no, this was the worst shape of this engine ever made. So let's start with the specs. It's a 90 degrees V-shaped engine. Someone is actually flying above my house right now. I mean, the airplanes, wow, the sound of them is just annoying. Okay, let's stop again. It's a 90 degrees V-shaped engine, 8-cylinder, cast iron block materials. And yes, we are using today inches, cubic inches, because this is to our dearest friends in the US or Canada, or whoever asked the video, where is it? Yes, I think he's from the US, because it says his username is Minnesota Wild Outdoors. So right, so we are doing it today in inches. 4 inch is the bore, and 3 inch is the stroke, as you can see, which equals 301.6 cubic inch, as you can see. Push rods, 2 valves, of course, cast iron heads, and cast iron crankshaft, cast connecting rods, and yes, hyper, whatever it is, I'm gonna call it hyper cast pistons. So they use these a lot in the 1980s, because they want to make the engines to produce less and less emissions, and these are perfect examples for cast pistons to make less emissions than normal cast. All right. -5 here, yes, you will see a lot of minuses in this video. -5 quality on the internals, 8.5:1, this is the official compression ratio for the 302 Mustang GT engine in the 1980s, because it used to run on 87 octane fuel, and yes, you will see later. 31 on the cam profile, and yes, you are seeing it correctly, -12 on the quality here. I've never actually pushed the qualities minus like this one. I mean, I don't like to see minuses on my videos, but I had to do it like this so I can make the correct power and torque like the real engine. Moving on, it's naturally aspirated, of course, and yes, this is a two-barrel carburetor on the top. Yes, this version used a single 2-barrel carburetor on the top. There is another version with 4-barrel. There is the EFI version, the early EFI. This is the single dual 2-barrel on the top, as you can see. This is what Wikipedia says. This is the correct one. Single carburetor, as you can see, standard intake manifold and intake system. And yes, I'm sorry to say this, but I had to use 95 octane fuel here, 95 unleaded octane fuel, because using normal 91, I mean, I tried hard, really hard. I played with the ignition, the fuel mixture, the exhaust ties, the qualities, the cam profile, the cam profile quality. I could not ever achieve these correct 100% correct numbers for this engine on 91 regular fuel. I'm really sorry to say that. I mean, I know that these engines run on 87 octane fuel, which means 91, yes, but no, I had to use 95 octane fuel here, so I hope that you can forgive me for this, but it's not really, it's impossible to make the correct power and torque on 91. I mean, can you imagine this? The engine is making extreme amount of power, but I had to choke the engine. I had to kill as much horsepower as possible and to keep the torque at 243 pound-feet of torque. And it was hard. It wasn't easy at all. I mean, the engine kept making 150, 160 horsepower, 150, 140, and when I dropped the horsepower, the torque dropped with it. I had to increase qualities, decrease qualities. The engine kept on knocking, and so I gave up and went with 95 octane fuel. I gave myself a little bit of octane head here so I can make it as perfect as possible. Yes, and you are seeing it correctly. The engine is only making 135 horsepower at 3600 rpm. No, I'm not joking. This is the real horsepower of this engine was in the 1980s. Can you imagine 135 horsepower V8, 5-liter V8 engine? This is pathetic. I'm sorry to say this. I like Ford engines. I'm a big fan of Fords. I mean, my current daily driving vehicle is a Crown Vic, but no, this is pathetic. I'm sorry to say this. But the torque is good, but the power is just pathetic. I mean, yes, it's a legendary engine, I respect that, but no, 135 horsepower is not acceptable at all. But they were designed this way. As I said before, they were choking the engines back then in the 80s so they can make them to produce less and less amount of emissions. As you can see, the emissions are 1849, and this is used by by two-way catalytic converters. I mean, if I choose right now the three-way, I will get the horsepower from 135 to 155, extra 20 horsepower just by replacing a catalytic converter. If I increase the exhaust diameter, it will get even more powerful, like 165 with the three-way. Put straight through mufflers, will get to the 173. If you choose better headers, you will get to 190 in the long tubular here. Of course, adding a second two-barrel carburetor will increase the horsepower more. You will get extra headroom in the octane here. Add a third one. Put a performance intake manifold and intake system, or choose 4-barrel if you want to go even extreme. And yes, also you will go back to the camshaft, put more aggressive and more high quality camshaft, add more compression to the engine, more compression internals. I mean, the internals are good, but yes, I mean, even with -5 they are still good. They can go all the way to 6800 rpm, which is good. But as I said, better camshaft, better carburetors on the top with better intake manifold, and of course a high flow and yes, a high performance exhaust system will make this beast to produce 250 horsepower easily. I mean, without trying even. So let's fire up this puppy here. As you can see, it runs very smoothly, and it's clean. Of course, it's heavy, it's big, and 3.8 cubic feet. I think this is the correct terms of measurement here. And yes, I know that the engineering time is a little bit high here, 124.3. I know that, but this is I mean, I'm not gonna mass produce this engine. This is a very special requested engine. It's a replica for the real one, and I'm really happy with the power and torque because they are perfectly like the real one. Now let's see how the internals are doing. As you can see, it looks classic and magnificent. I mean, it's smooth, it's elegant, and the RPM limit is just hideous. I mean, 4000 RPM. Inline 4 engines now in 2018 can do even more than that. But this is the 80s, and I cannot argue with the past and with the history of classic engines. So thank you so much, Mr. Minnesota Wild Outdoors, for your cool request. I'm sorry if this engine, I mean, if I did something wrong to it, or when I've chosen 95 octane fuel. I mean, I had to do that again. I apologize if it's not really correct in the terms of fuel, or let's say ignition timing or fuel mixture. I mean, Ford enthusiasts will know that this fuel mixture is not really correct. and I'm not really sure about the exhaust size, if it's 1.75 inch or bigger, smaller. I'm not really sure about it. So thank you so much, Mr. Minnesota Wild Outdoors, and thank you so much, guys, for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Write anything you want. What do you think about the engine? How it used to perform in the 80s? If you have it right now, if you have this engine right now with the stock parts on it, I would really love to see it on my Snapchat. You can add my Snapchat, Lord BAS, Lord Das 94. You can add me, send me pictures of this legendary engine, or if you have it and you tuned it or modified, I would love to see it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please let me see those likes go up in the sky, hit the thumbs up, get subscribed if you are new to my channel, and share the video if you want to share it. So thank you so much for watching. Keep requesting videos, and I will see you very soon with more cool content. And have a nice weekend, and goodbye for now, my friends.